Welcome to the webinar on the Tug Hill Commission's online GIS portal. The first thing I'll mention is to get to the Tug Hill Commission's GIS online portal, you go to tughill.gscloud.com, and that'll take you to this portal, which you see here. And this is how it'll display. There'll be a disclaimer here and also a little video window over here. So you can just close those out. So you can see the whole screen here. So the first thing I want to do is just run through some menu options here. So if you look up above, there's an export map function. This is if you want to grab a screenshot. Basically, you can add a legend in here, and then you can just hit get image, and this will then go out and capture an image of this, and the legend will show whatever the layer list is over on the left-hand side here. So there, it's done. You can hit show image, and you'll see that here's an image that you can then download to be used. So now let's go back here, and so that's the export map feature. The next feature is map search. So if I click map search, you'll see there's filters over here, and it filters on the tax parcels for each county. And you can type in the owner name in there. So that's a feature that we can get to here in a second that we'll cover again. The switch map feature allows you to switch between maps. So like right now we're looking at the regional map. That's the default map. So if I click special area map, for instance, it takes me to a whole nother map. So the nice thing with this is we can pre-program different maps, so it doesn't, maybe the map won't get as cluttered and you won't have as much to sift through. Same thing here, I put in the River Area Council of Governments in here. We're currently working on adding all the other Council of Governments into the switch map feature, and then that way if they have like regional maps that they want to make available, they can do that. So here is the River Area Council of Governments map. And then I can go back to the regional map. Private mapping applications. We have a mapping application called Community Mapper, and that you need a login in order to get onto. It's a private map where we typically put a lot of the infrastructure data or data that communities don't want to necessarily make public at this point. So lots of times that's tied up with our with a private mapping application, especially for infrastructure. Community map viewers, we have, this will take you to either one of the county's map viewers when you click on it. So this will take us to Jefferson County's map viewer. These can be very handy because they may keep their parcel data up to date more frequently. For us, we update the parcel information, about once a year. We'll get a copy from the counties to upload. Data sites, resources, and Qgis. These are all things that we won't dive into a lot today, but these are more resources if you're going to start using, for instance, a desktop GIS application. We actually use Qgis for a lot of our desktop applications here in the office, and a lot of our local governments do tend to gravitate towards this because it's a free application, but it's a very powerful application to utilize. So here there's some tutorials there that communities could use if they wanted to dive into it. The other thing on data sites, this is some of the places we go and get our data that is then put into this online map viewer. So if somebody's using a desktop program and wanting to access some of the same data, they could go that route also. So that kind of wraps up that. And then the next step we're going to do is just take a look at some of the data on here and how to turn layers on and off. So the first thing I'm going to look at is tax parcels. I'm going to turn, for instance, Lewis County tax parcels on. You'll notice that nothing is displaying. So as I zoom in, you also see the town boundaries also come into view, and also the labels for them. Still no tax parcels, so as we zoom in further, then all of a sudden you'll see them pop up here, and there are some labels on there. So my next step is, say I wanted to pull up information. You usually got to make sure this info tool is selected. And I'm going to click. And if you notice, it grabbed town boundaries. That's because the way this works is it goes to the first layer that is unlocked. So in this case, if we go up to boundaries, being that boundaries is up above the parcel data, it went down through and it hit town boundaries here. If I lock town boundaries down, it will then drill through the town boundary and get to the parcel data, because the town boundary overlaps the parcel data, so it actually is overlaid on top. So now when we click on this parcel, you'll see it kind of highlights there, and the information will update in the window. And there we go. There's the Lewis County tax parcel information. So then you can scroll through that and look at the different information on there. So that's an important thing to remember, is this padlock. So let's see. Let's go back up and close that. So now we have this. We're kind of zoomed in here. Maybe we say, okay, well, we want to go back to the entire map view. Or better yet, let's say this base map isn't working for us. So I can actually uncheck this, just have a plain white background. Or I can turn on some aerial imagery if I want to do that. You can still see that parcel that we clicked on is highlighted in like a light blue there. So, or I could even go to Bing Maps, which is actually another image that you can have for your base map. I might go, okay, I'm going to go to, I want to view the entire map now. I kind of lost my spot where I'm at. I want to zoom back out to where I originally began. So you can click this View Entire Map, and that'll pop us right back out to where we were before. So the next thing I wanted to point out is that these folders all contain data, and we use that so it doesn't become too cluttered. So in transportation, we have minimum maintenance roads and local official roads. By clicking the check mark, that makes these layers visible. In the orange, you'll see those are the local official roads. And those were roads that were adopted officially through for each of the towns there, related to like an official road map. So these are the communities that went through and adopted their roads and that you're viewing right now. The next step is boundaries. So here we have like the Tug Hill boundary, Adirondack boundary, the 4 county boundaries, village boundaries. We even have the political boundaries in here for assembly districts, senate districts, that we can turn on and off. Public lands. So here's the public land data. So we have all this information that is available on here. So now I'm just going to collapse it. Back in transportation, so you see the folder here, and it has a check mark next to it. If I click that, it adds in also the minimum maintenance roads. It basically turns on every layer that's inside that folder. So there you go, minimum maintenance local official roads. So now if I uncheck that folder, it all disappears. That's one way to clear the map view pretty quickly. Council of Governments, I'm going to jump right down. What we have, for instance, in NOCOG here. The town of Lee has been working with us on stuff, collecting their own data. So they utilize a mobile data collection app that's used with GIS Cloud, and it allows them to collect their data in the field. And that information immediately goes right up into this online map portal because it feeds an online database that the Tug Hill Commission maintains. And so you can see that real time. And if you're using a QGIS platform, a desktop platform, it's the same thing. That data is shared amongst all 3 components. So QGIS, the online map portal we're looking at now, and the mobile data collecting app can all see the same data real time. And with the QGIS and the mobile data collection app, you can make edits and updates to your data, and it's all real time, and it'll automatically populate the view here. And one key note too is that the mobile data collection app, even if you don't have cell service to push the data up into the online database, it collects all the information on your phone or tablet, and then as soon as you have Wi-Fi or cell phone connection, it pushes all the data up so you don't lose it. So you can actually go out and collect data out in the field even without the cell service. So Town of Lee went in, they did some collections. So here's their information. So let's take a look at the hydrants here. So we hit zoom the layer. I don't know if you saw that, but you hit the 3 dots here next to the Lee hydrants, and I hit zoom to layer. you see there's clusters, and then it says like 5 here, for instance. So there's 5 hydrants clustered there. So as you zoom in, it starts breaking them apart. So what that does, it just helps make things so they aren't quite so cluttered. When clicking on the hydrants, here's information on the hydrants. It's listed there. And you can click on different ones here to see that information. Now this one actually has a photo attached. So when they're out collecting, they do have the option with the mobile data collection app to take pictures in the field. So in this case, they did take a picture of this hydrant, and then there it is. So that can be handy, out in the field just to see help you know what the condition is, and even sometimes like with curb stops or water valves, it could even help you flag where they are. So if we turn on curb stops, for instance, let's zoom in here. So let's grab a curb stop here, and let's see what we got. There's no pictures on that one, so let's try this one over here. I'm not sure. We'll find one here eventually. Maybe down here. Because not all the curb stops had photos, because it all depends on the user that's using it. So this one does have a photo. So if we click on this, you can see there's a little flag in the bottom left of the picture over here. I mean, that can be handy because you know where it's in reference to maybe a driveway, or it could be a tree or that type of thing. So I can see the blue flag. So they actually took a picture here before they removed that flag where that water valve is, or curb stop, I mean. So that's, their stuff here that they had. It's all available. I can turn all the town of Lee data on just by one click. And now we got, probably show a little bit easier with a different background. So I turn the aerial imagery on. So there's all their information with their roads, their zoning, and all that is on there. So communities can actually borrow the Tuggill Commission's mobile data collecting licenses and collect data out in the field if they want to. If a community decides they want a dedicated license, then they have to go through Qgis Cloud and purchase a mobile data collecting license, which is about $200 a year. And then they'd have it dedicated, so whenever they wanted it, it'd be available. Otherwise, with us, we can share it, but we need to know in advance when somebody's going to go collect, so we can give you a license to share and go out in the field and collect that information. We do not charge for any of our services or the sharing of our licenses. We do not charge for that. So that's Council of Governments. And then we have winter data, which is like snowmobile trails. There's the tax parcel data. There's groundwater and development information. So the local data is mostly that provided by communities. That's like zoning, infrastructure. A lot of the other data we actually download from different sites, regional sites. So the next step I want to do is just kind of run through some of the options in the toolbar. So there's a search button up here. So I can go and I'm going to do places. So this is where you type in an address. So actually I already typed this one in before, but 553 Bostwick Street. And I'm going to go Lowville. This is actually the municipal building for the town of Lowville and the village of Lowville. So there it marked it. It took me over to that area. And as I zoom in, there it is. So that's the municipal building. So, and then the GIS Cloud search, that searches every single layer for a word. So you type in a word and it'll search all the data layers, which in most cases probably isn't going to be the most useful. If you're searching for parcel information, it might be better to do the map search up here. So speaking of that, let's maybe jump over to the map search right now and go to Lewis County tax parcels. Let's go and look up Lowville. Here's a school. And it might be hard to see, but there's parcels highlighted here. So I'm going to turn the layer list back on, which I haven't shown you that yet, but it's this layer list button right up in here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to uncheck the Bing, and you'll see these parcels are shown. So these are the Lewis County tax parcels, and it's showing the ones that are owned by Lavo Academy right here in our view right now. So I'm going to throw that back on. So that's, that's another neat little way to do your searches for owner information that's out there. All right, so now let's go back to the entire map view here. And you notice that we got all that data. So one quick way is I could just hit Council of Governments. It's going to turn on everything, uncheck it, and now all that data is gone. So the way that this is coordinated is Council of Governments is where all the town and villages will reside in one of these folders, depending on what council of government they belong to. And if they don't belong to a council of government, they're in this unaffiliated folder. And then, from there you can click on what member community you want to go to. So that's a council of governments. So we already showed you the layer list. Clicking that turns the layer list on and off. So if you want to get it out of your view, you got the zoom in button here. So you can zoom in, zoom out. If I want to hide part of the toolbar, I can click this button right here and select. So I can hold the left mouse button and kind of move the screen around using this tool. Area selection, that one you click on and you can highlight a bunch of features by drawing a box around them. Zoom to current position, if you have a tablet with a GPS that's enabled in it, you can click on that and it'll zoom you right to your position. Google Street View, so that's kind of a neat one. Let's jump over here into West Carthage area here. And actually let's go over to one of the parks here. So if I wanted to get a street view over here by one of the parks of Google, I can click on that Google tool, click on the map, and it actually pulls up a Google map right next to the regular map that we had here. So that's a neat little tool. If you want to jump over to Google Maps, you can do that and view information over there. And here's the zoom in tool. So this is where you can draw a box. So I'm going to draw a box. Didn't really zoom in a lot. There we go. Draw another box. And then this is view entire map. So I click on that. That takes me all the way back out to the original view when we first got on. There's a print button, so you can print a map. So similar to the export map, but it'll actually print a map. And then the measuring tool. So you can measure distances in foot, by meter, by yard, by mile. And then you got area. So you got square feet, square meters, acre, hectare. So you can do different things. So basically, in square feet, I could sit here and start. You can see the numbers changing up here. So this is square feet. So that's the other thing that is available, is using that measuring tool. So with that, we're going to now I'm going to go over here to. I want to just clear this out. There, reset that, got that on that. So now let's go to Switch Map. Switch Map, you can go to, Special Area Map or River Area Council of Governments map. I'm going to hit the River Area Council of Government map because I just wanted to show you some things. We got community resources in RACOG, and so if we zoom in here, we got these different resources. I'm going to turn the zoning off. So quickly, I'm going to turn all zoning off by clicking on that checkbox right next to the zoning. So I'm going to zoom in. I might say, all right, well, I want to switch to the satellite imagery here. So here's the park, Guyot's Island. And so when I click on that resource, it's Guyot's Island. But what you'll notice is I got a bunch of pictures here. So actually, but when we went out and collected this data, we took a few pictures of Guyot's Island. And all those pictures are stored in here. So this is the type of thing that you can do with that mobile data collection app on a smartphone or tablet. As you can push it up. We actually use a Bluetooth GPS receiver lots of times with a smartphone or tablet because it's usually a higher end Bluetooth GPS device. It gives you a little more accuracy, because otherwise using your smartphone or tablet, you could be talking about a 3 to 5 meter accuracy with that. But that's plenty if you're just out looking for something like, say, like a fire hydrant or something like that. That might be all you need to try to go relocate and find that hydrant, for instance, because you can easily see it. So if it's something you can easily see, 3 to 5 meters is, probably all right. So this is what we had here. We had some of the municipal buildings, and so like right here we have the town of Wilna municipal building. We usually try to link to a website if we can, and there's also a phone number that people can call, and so that's just kind of handy. So then people can go to this site and then pull up information on here. So that was that, and there's a lot of different data layers and stuff that can be on here, and we're actually looking for feedback from the users on what data they would like to see available. One of the things with RACOG is we did do a navigation hazard map here, which right here is one of the hazards. So when I click on this, it's showing me that there it is. There's a picture of it. It's a woody debris area. The reason I know it's a woody debris area because if I go over here and look, it's a brown color there, and that's what I just clicked on. So right there, you'll see the color is brown. So they're kind of color-coded, the different navigation hazards. So that was something that was kind of related to RACOG, and that's why it's on the RACOG site. And we will display infrastructure data on the public map viewer like this. If a community wants to make that available, we will put that on there. With that, I think that was the quick of how to navigate around the online map viewer. Appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, you can contact us, and we can help you out.